Imagine woolly mammoths walking around long after the construction of the pyramids. It's incredible to think that these Ice Age giants persisted for thousands of years, with some populations surviving until about 4,000 years ago, well into the time when ancient Egypt was flourishing. These late-surviving mammoth groups were found in isolated regions like Wrangel Island off the coast of Siberia and St. Paul Island near Alaska, where they remained separated from human influence for a longer period than we might expect. The first surprise is their sheer size. Mammoths towered over you, standing up to 3 meters tall at the shoulder. Picture a furry elephant with a shaggy coat and curved tusks that could stretch as long as your car. They were massive, but what really makes them fascinating is how they survived well into the Holocene epoch, with some populations persisting on remote islands until around 4,000 years ago, overlapping with early human civilizations such as ancient Egypt. Mammoths once roamed vast grasslands across Eurasia and North America. But then something went wrong. Their numbers started dwindling about 10,000 years ago, coinciding with the expansion of human populations from Africa. Here's the surprising part. Some isolated populations managed to hold on for much longer, up until around 4,000 years ago, when they were contemporary with early civilizations such as those that built the pyramids in Egypt. That's just a few thousand years after the extinction of the woolly mammoth, which occurred around 4,000 years ago. The construction of the Great Pyramid at Giza marks a fascinating point in human history, but it's important to note that by then, mammoths had been extinct for millennia. It's mind-bending to consider how close we are, geologically speaking, to the last Ice Age megafauna. But here's where it gets sinister. As humans spread, they hunted these massive beasts to near extinction. That's right, human activities played a major role in pushing mammoths towards extinction. The more we learn about this period, the clearer it becomes that our ancestors' hunting and habitat disruption were significant factors in their decline. So what does that mean for us today? The second big shock is how many mammoth remains we've found. Imagine walking through Siberian tundra and stumbling upon massive bones sticking out of the ground. Huge skulls with tusks longer than your arm, rib cages so large they could house a small person. These finds offer a vivid glimpse into the recent past when woolly mammoths roamed the earth not long ago. Some even survived until around 4,000 years ago, overlapping with early human civilizations such as ancient Egypt's construction of the pyramids. And it gets even more eerie when you think about where these remains are found. Some were preserved in permafrost for thousands of years, perfectly intact. Others turned up on remote islands off the coast of Alaska, trapped there as sea levels rose and cut them off from mainland populations. These isolated groups became vulnerable to sudden changes, such as climate shifts or human hunting pressure, leading to their extinction even after woolly mammoths persisted on the continental mainland for thousands of years following the construction of the Great Pyramids. The part that breaks me is how close we came to keeping mammoths around. Some scientists believe that without human overhunting and habitat loss, they might still exist today. It's a haunting thought. What other species are we currently driving into extinction? Now let's talk about the final, terrifying twist. Climate change played a huge role in their demise. As temperatures started to warm at the end of the last ice age, mammoths faced major challenges. The grasslands they depended on shrank and were replaced by forests and tundra that couldn't support such large herbivores. In fact, woolly mammoths survived until around 4,000 years ago, well after the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, highlighting their resilience despite these dramatic environmental changes. But here's where it gets really scary. Those same warming trends are happening again today. We're witnessing rapid changes in our world, just like what occurred during past mass extinctions. And guess who's most at risk? The very species we need to protect: elephants, rhinos, and polar bears. It's not a stretch to say that if we don't act soon, we could be repeating the same catastrophic mistakes of the past. So here's the gut punch fact. Every time you see an elephant today, think about how close these majestic creatures came to disappearing forever. woolly mammoths roamed our planet for millions of years before humans arrived. And yet, human actions led to their extinction. It's a stark reminder that what we do now matters more than ever. And here's the worst part. Those massive bones and tusks aren't just relics from the past. They're stark reminders of what can happen when species face catastrophic changes. Each one is a silent scream about the dire consequences of our actions on the environment. So, are you ready to face these warnings? Or will you let history repeat itself? Subject: the mammoths that outlived the pyramids. Get this, the last known woolly mammoth vanished around 3700 BC, right in the middle of ancient Egypt's golden age. Imagine that timeline for a second. The pyramids were being built while these giants still roamed free. It boggles the mind, doesn't it? So here's the real question. What do we want to be remembered by? While mammoths are now extinct, their story is a haunting echo of our own choices. Every time we see those bones sticking out of the permafrost or hear about another species on the brink, let it remind you that extinction isn't just a prehistoric problem. It's an urgent call for action. That's the lesson. If mammoths taught us anything, it's that no living thing endures forever, except our duty to safeguard what remains. So will you heed this message? Or will you allow history to repeat its mistakes? Hold on tight, this is where things get truly chilling. Every time a mammoth bone is unearthed from permafrost or found washed up on some remote island shore, it's like an ancient message screaming out for help. And the most terrifying part is that we're still making choices today that could lead to more extinctions. Unlike popular belief, woolly mammoths, Mammothus primigenius, roamed the earth well after the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, surviving until around 1700 BC on Wrangel Island. A stark reminder of how recent their extinction was and how human activity played a crucial role in their demise. Here's one final fact. When those last woolly mammoths finally disappeared, their extinction was a stark warning about what happens when you lose your natural habitats and face relentless hunting pressure. It's like looking in a mirror, seeing ourselves as the agents of destruction for these magnificent creatures. And it's not just about mammoths, it's about every species we're pushing to the brink. So let that sink in. If humans contributed to the extinction of mammoths, what does that mean for the world today? It's a haunting question with no easy answers, but one thing is clear: our choices matter more than ever. So here's your call to action. Will you listen and act before it's too late? That's the real gut punch. Every time we see a mammoth tusk or hear about another species in danger, let it be a wake-up call. It's not just history, it's our future. We must heed these warnings and take action now to protect biodiversity before it's too late. So here's your final challenge. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you stand by and watch as more species disappear? Or will you take action to protect what's left? The choice is yours, but the consequences won't be forgotten. Mammoths are indeed extinct, but their legacy serves as a stark reminder of humanity's impact on the environment. As recently as several thousand years ago, long after ancient Egyptian pyramids were built, mammoths still roamed parts of Eurasia and North America. Let that final image linger. A mammoth standing alone in a landscape increasingly dominated by human activity. What will you do to prevent such extinctions from happening again? Hold tight, that's the real question. Will we learn from history or repeat it? The choice is yours, but the future is staring us down. So what are you going to do about it? You need to hear this. Woolly mammoths didn't just go extinct. They survived long after ancient Egypt's monumental pyramids were built and stood for thousands of years more. Think about that for a second. While ancient civilizations were erecting structures meant to last forever, woolly mammoths roamed the earth, eventually vanishing from Siberia around 4,000 years ago, well after the construction of the Great Pyramids around 2600 BCE. Imagine standing in front of the Great Pyramid of Giza around 2500 BC, and somewhere across the world, a woolly mammoth was still alive too. That's mind-boggling, right? Here's what nobody tells you. While the pyramids are awe-inspiring symbols of human ingenuity, they're also stark reminders that our impact on Earth started long before we realized it. woolly mammoths coexisted with early humans for thousands of years, and some populations persisted until around 1700 BC on remote islands off Siberia, long after the construction of the pyramids. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. We're talking about an animal that survived multiple ice ages and shifting climates, only to be wiped out by us. Think about that for a moment. Mammoths were built to endure everything nature could throw at them, from extreme cold to vast environmental changes, yet they couldn't survive the arrival of humans. And then, get this, everything scientists thought they knew about mammoths fell apart when they started digging into their genetics. Turns out these massive creatures weren't just any old megafauna. They had complex social structures and even showed signs of using tools. Can you imagine? A woolly behemoth, wandering the icy tundra with a brain capable of intricate problem-solving, living long after the construction of the pyramids until about 4,000 years ago. But here's where it gets really gut-wrenching. The last known population of woolly mammoths lived on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean. And they didn't go extinct simply because they couldn't adapt. Rather, their island refuge was too small to sustain them against ongoing hunting pressure and habitat loss from human activity. Think about that, the very place meant to protect them ultimately failed spectacularly. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about a species that survived massive environmental changes and natural predators for millions of years, only to fall victim to human greed and lack of foresight. This creature was an absolute marvel in size and resilience. Woolly mammoths stood up to 3 meters tall at the shoulder and roamed vast ice age landscapes. But it couldn't stand up against human exploitation. You need to hear this. The extinction of woolly mammoths isn't just ancient history. It's a cautionary tale about what we're doing now to countless other species on Earth. Woolly mammoths roamed Siberia and North America until around 4,000 years ago, coexisting with early humans, but ultimately falling victim to climate change and human overhunting. We have the power to choose a different path, one where we protect the natural world, not destroy it. Let that final image linger. A lone mammoth standing in a landscape slowly overtaken by human presence. Think about what you see when you look at those scenes. Loss, sorrow, and missed opportunities. But also consider this. Every single one of us has the power to change that narrative. The choice is yours, but the future isn't set in stone. So here's your challenge. Will you stand by and watch as more species disappear? Or will you take action today to protect what's left? Because the truth is, we have a second chance, a moment to learn from history and ensure it doesn't repeat itself. Just like how woolly mammoths roamed the earth long after the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, surviving for thousands of years more until around 1650 BCE, our actions today can shape the future survival of countless species. Will you seize that opportunity? What are you going to do about it?